I need to know something. I need help from you too, Figgy. So, free agency on day one. Can you win it on day two?
Were you not paying attention earlier?
John Lopez has a statement. Yesterday, not a great day because day one was kind of meh. You lost guys.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't sign guys. Day two comes around. You rebound. You trade for Joe Mixon. You signed Daniil Hunter to a 2-year deal, by the way. Unbelievable job by Nick Caserio, remaining true to his principles.
Mm-hmm.
John Lopez has a statement about the reaction post day one and the rebound post day two.
Well, thank you for coming. I've prepared a statement for all of you and everyone tuning in on YouTube and Twitch, and certainly anyone who can hear my voice. I'll just read this statement, and I hope I can get through it all right. To Cal McNair, to my brethren and my comrades in the media, especially locally and especially at Sports Radio 610. To Texans fans and anyone who remotely follows the NFL, I was wrong, and for that I am sorry. 2 days ago, I flippantly and irresponsibly had the gall to have an opinion on how the Texans were doing on day one of NFL free agency. I expressed my opinion on how the Texans were doing, particularly at running back and in general as it pertained to top free agents. I don't blame you if you switch to music. Let me reiterate, I was wrong. What I did is not something to be done on day one. Free agency is not won on day one, as we've been reminded. I realize now, though, that it is won on day two. I realize this now after being reminded with several tweets that my questioning or even having an opinion on how the Texans were doing on day one was not prudent. I saw several tweets and social media posts yesterday from people I respect. Sean Pendergast, John Harris.
Shout out to John Harris.
Et al. Those tweets very clearly showed me that a big day two is when you should make conclusions, not day one. I realized that day two is when these opinions are. I regret the way I did and reacting how I did. My only other regret is I wish I knew the rule book a little better.
Oh, wow. I'm sensing sarcasm here.
Day two is when you're supposed to do this. I still am not sure about day 3, day 5, day 9.
John Harris says day 9. He's weighed in.
He does.
He texted me.
But
day 9.
But I am more than open for anyone to share this information with me so this heinous miscalculation on my part never will happen again. Thank you. #WeAreTexans. Forgive me. And we will see you at the Super Bowl.
I don't think you reacted that much.
I didn't.
I don't think you even reacted that much.
I didn't.
Let's look at the tape.
Yes.
Trust the tape. Check the tape.
Yes.
This was you yesterday with Sean Pendergast. I didn't think you reacted that. I didn't think you reacted that intensely. I think you just assessed what happened day one. Check the damn tape.
It's to forget that, but the vast majority of NFL teams weren't making huge splash signings.
Yeah, well, let's ask John Lopez, who's one of those people. John, what would it take? You seemed very upset yesterday when I was listening.
I was taken aback.
Yeah.
Would be probably the best way to do it.
What would it take today or over the next couple days for you to get pulled back in and say, okay, I like what they're doing?
Well, my thing is the pool of free agents that could be instant upgrades is just so much smaller. But I think if you get those particular ones out of the pool, then all of a sudden it starts to look.
Daniil Hunter is that?
Yeah, Daniil Hunter would be one.
Okay.
Look, I said to say right here, and Landry and I are going to dig into it a lot more. I just feel it's the first day, and on the first day, you lost a lot of players out there that could have been instant upgrades.
Yeah, they've got work to do.
That seems fair.
Hey,
that didn't seem like
last
an
part?
overreaction. Yeah, they got work to do.
They got work to do.
That didn't seem too bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think I get lumped in with you.
I get lumped in with you.
Yeah, which sucks for both of us. Because I damn sure don't want your opinions, and you damn sure don't want mine.
Oh, no, I don't.
Yes. I don't blame you.
No, I don't.
I want to. Did I overreact? Did I overreact yesterday I think Figgy's put this together. Let's see. Was there like an overreaction? The running back, yes, I was a little bit upset. This was pre-mix and trade. Let's see if I owe an apology too. If you didn't hear it at least 55 times in the drive-in this morning, like you don't win free agency on day one. Like we got to make that very, very clear to everybody. Let's hey, tap the brakes. You don't win in day one of free agency. That's not where championships are built. We agree on that.
Thanks for listening.
But what is your biggest takeaway?
Don't freak out, or it's early, or anything like that. I feel like that's fine, but you're also coping with what happened on Monday.
I have no problem with the way stuff went. I did not want them to. My one wish as we went on the air yesterday was I hope that they don't give a lot of money to Christian Wilkins.
Okay,
that was my one wish. I got that wish. So I'm fine with the approach.
Oh, okay.
It's all about the running back for me. I'm not going to mask it. You don't want to overreact. You don't want to underreact. You know that there's still plenty of time to build a roster. You know that if you haven't heard for the 80th time this morning, you don't want free agency in day one, so you know that. At the very least, I'm not going to sit here and say the sky is falling. Okay. I'm not going to say, well, they're worse now than they were before.
Seems
because,
irrational.
obviously, but they got plenty of time. There's no way that they look back on that day and say, man, that went perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the approach. Didn't want them to overspend. Matter of fact, a souped-up version of what Nick Caserio did before is what we got.
Yeah.
So I don't think you really overreacted.
I don't think so either.
I think you're being unfair to yourself.
But how dare us have an opinion about day one on day one? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you did your thing.
Maybe that was irresponsible, as I mentioned in the prepared statement.
I think you did your thing.
I did.
I think the gun is jumped. I think Sean's kind of nudging, kind of saying that you were really mad. I don't think I wasn't
really
seen you mad.
Yeah, I wasn't really mad. I was just tickled.
You were mad when DeAndre Hopkins got traded.
I was mad when DeAndre Hopkins got traded. But I was just
never going to forget that.
I was just fascinated by.
But there were some people that were upset, and I don't blame you. It's an exciting time.
Yeah,
free agency is an exciting time.
But you know how
it's the emotion.
You know how we don't like to say the people who say this are the same people that said that, and a lot of times it's kind of straw man. No, it was literally the same people, literally the same people that were saying, "Oh, it's early," and "Oh, Lopez, don't freak out," and all that. Literally those same people.
Yeah.
One day later, Super Bowl, baby.
Yeah.
Best defense in the league. So you can't react on day one, but you can on day two.
If they would have done that on day one, I think it's the same. I think it's a good process.
No.
Shout out to Jean-Jacques Taylor, one of my mentors.
Nope.
Sports are fluid.
Nope, you were
it's a
wrong,
fluid process,
sir.
my friend.
You were wrong, sir. If they had signed Danielle Hunter and Al-Shaair and traded for Joe Mixon on day one, those same people would have all been saying, "Guys, it's early, man. It's early. It's only day one. You can do it on day two, but not day one."
Yeah. I think there's a lot of imagination. I think there's a lot of imagination on that. I don't think you owe an apology. I think it worked out perfectly.
I will say, what happens on day two, and I'm being serious now. I'm not being sarcastic, but what happens on day two is you start to see how teams are working. You start to see how they're spending.
And I think that's where Nick Caserio's at his best, is adjustments. That's always been my favorite thing about him, is I think he does a good job adjusting. Where's the Watson trade, which he was kind of handcuffed at, the Schultz move, which I always bring up, the draft where you're discussing two guys and you decide you can get both because you have extra draft equity.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Danielle Hunter was the original plan or just kind of an adjustment.
I
that
don't
could be a
either.
tomato-tomato type of thing.
Yeah, I don't either, but who cares at this point? But you start to see what teams are spending. The Texans, if you weren't listening earlier, I mentioned this, as of this morning, have spent the second most money in the NFL on free agents. That's huge. That's kind of what I wanted. What have I been saying all along? Smart, big money, smart, big money. Every one of these deals is smart, big money.
The window's crazy.
Danielle Hunter, 2 years, 48. That's smart.
Yeah, I mean, it lines up perfectly. My other, do you think that they would have gone 3? Like how firm? Because they had a firm stance. They had a stance. We'll go 11. We ain't going 14.
Yeah, they had a threshold.
Do you think that there was there like a firm, hey, we want to give you a 2-year deal? Or if he would have said, I want to make it 3, would they have done it?
Not to be wishy-washy, I think they would have done 3 depending on the guarantee, but no more than 3. Like they did a 2-year deal, 49-48 guaranteed. Could they have done 3 50 guarantee? I don't know, but
I don't think so.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
I think
maybe
that's
not.
why so much money was guaranteed in this 2-year deal.
Yeah,
we'll give you more guaranteed, but not a 3-year deal.
On the text line, I think this is a fair comment. Shout out to you, my friend, 832. Overreacting is you guys saying maybe behind closed doors the Texans realize they're not ready to compete for a championship to explain why the Texans weren't more active in free agency at the time. That is excellent listening by you, and that is 100% what we were discussing. And, yeah, here's my thing. And this was another layer of that conversation. I don't know that last year made Nick Caserio change his plan. Mm-hmm. In other words, like when I see the Philadelphia Eagles and they're throwing all this money at Saquon Barkley and they're going all in on that situation with Saquon, or we've seen teams in the past that they're willing to break bread for guys. I don't think they would have done that early in their process. So I don't know that Nick Caserio's process has changed. I think I agree. Because I think there might be a time, and credit to him for being able to kind of have his cake and eat it too. But I do think you call him a cyborg, but for how, I won't say stuck in his ways, but for how Nick Caserio has this philosophy, I do believe, whether it's next year, whether it's the year after, whether it's the year after, whether it's way down the line, I think a time will come when Nick Caserio thinks they're close enough to where he might be willing to give that third year, give that fourth year, and figure it out. But I don't know that he thinks that he's there yet. Now, the Hunter move, because you're able to have your cake and eat it too. You're able to play chess and checkers, and you can make as much of an impact. But I do believe, for as robotic as we think Nick is, I think a time will come where maybe he'll be willing to be more aggressive, like we see the Eagles doing, who've been to the Super Bowl 2 years ago and have been to the playoffs the last 3 years.
Yeah, no, I agree, and
that's a really good text, 832.
Well, that is, and what we talked about, I brought it up yesterday. What I talked about was I'm wondering if, because of the first day, and heaven forbid that I reacted to day one, but because first day, do they think they're as close as we think they are? Well, day two showed otherwise. And day three, I keep talking about, you start to see kind of how they're working, Well, we just saw another indication of that. They traded Malik Collins to San Francisco.
If you're just tuning in, 7th-round pick from Malik Collins.
And the cap, the money reason is not the reason, because it was kind of very marginal. So clearly they're working on something else on the defensive line. And last thing on this is a texter said that, why do y'all like the 1 and 2 in question? I'm wondering what I'm missing. Well, eventually, probably in 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 seasons, C.J. Stroud's going to get a $250 or $300 million contract.
Yeah, the 2-year deal in this situation. First of all, why do I like the 2-year deal? Because a large majority of NFL contracts that are 4-year deals end up being 2-year deals.
True.
So that's why I like the 2-year deal.
But also the C.J. factor.
But, yeah, the C.J. factor in this situation is proportional to C.J. and Will when they're going to be eligible for contract extensions. And Derek Stingley will be, assuming that you pay him, his contract will be kicking in. I'm assuming they're going to pick up the option, the 5th-year option and all that. He's going to be eligible after next year. But his rookie contract will actually expire at that point. So it's just proportional there. But I don't mind the 2-year deal, because I think a lot of NFL contracts that are beyond 2 years actually end up being 2 years. So you're basically not sugarcoating it.
Just because, you're just being honest with them up front. We're going to get you for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to be proportional to CJ. So we'll see what happens there. So to answer the question, can you win free agency on day 2?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%, but not day 1.
Figgy, can you?
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go.